Kicking it off with season 2 of Adventure Time and Never Ending Adventure.
Yeah. Hey, Ned. How you doing?
Russ, man, I'm good. I got a big old stout Guinness here.
Okay.
And I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Guinness, as we all know, stands for getting under intimate necessities, never, ever, sad, sometimes.
Yep. This is exactly what it means.
Yeah. And as far as what drought and stout mean, who knows? But
drought stout.
Yeah, welcome back to another season of Never Ending Adventure. This has been our travelers with you guys. It's been a whole whopping 28 episodes so far. This is episode 29, and we're about to dive a little deeper into it came from the Nightosphere.
But, man, what a good way to kick off season 2.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in a second. I think let's catch up a little bit, Ned. How you been? I feel like I haven't seen you in a day or two.
Like 48 whole hours, man. Jeez,
I feel like it's been a long time since we've hung out. So y'all, the season ends and Ned just ghosts me for a whole 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, what's going on now?
He was nervous it wasn't going to happen.
Are we still friends? Did we have a big breakup on the Scooby-Doo episode debating cat godism? And
yeah,
I guess I pushed
Scooby-Doo was where I drew the freaking line.
Scooby-Doo is where a lot of people should draw the line.
Well, for those of you who decided to be lame and skip out on season 1, our premise here at Never Ending Adventure is me, Ned, the Adventure Time guru, the shaman of Adventure Time, expert. I get to do all the spoiler dropping. I know the show in and out. Russell.
And I talk out of my butt most of the time. And it's really a good old time. And my name's Russell. Sometimes I go by Babyface. Sometimes I go by Rusty. Rarely, and I never want to.
But to give him credit, Russell is a big-time fan of anything else that brings up, like, us late 90s kids.
Yeah.
And he knows all the nostalgia factors. Like, anime, Star Wars, SpongeBob's. Like, he's got all he got all the moves.
I appreciate that. I do have all the moves. I don't have the moves like Jagger. I did see, talked about catching up. Yeah, a little bit. I did see Mick Jagger this past weekend in Nashville. Oh my goodness, Josh. The Stones are so good. I've never been a huge fan, but I'm in now. But I digress because we don't tangent. That's another thing that we don't do on this show very often is tangent. Just because it's bad podcasting. And I'm all about positive, good podcasting. Ned, what did you think of the Nightosphere? It came from the Nightosphere episode.
Gosh, I forget how season 2 kicks off. And if you didn't tell me, like if I hadn't memorized all the episodes of Adventure Time and you didn't tell me this was just the first episode of season 2, I would have thought we were way later in the show. We get so many different vibes from this episode. It's kind of like, I feel like the animators, the storyboard artists, they were like, we locked in season 1. We've got canon now, and they lean in on that so well in this episode. Yeah,
it's a I was gonna try and play off that I didn't enjoy this episode, but y'all, what an episode!
It's great.
It came back so strong. You had mentioned you were really excited for this episode and the Scooby-Doo episode that we did, and I believed you. But I also know that you're a little biased for this show. But I gotta say, I love night episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We got another nighttime episode, and even the next episode's a little bit of a nighttime episode too, which is we're about to record that after this.
Yeah, you mentioned it, and this one does a really good job.
Does a good job
because the coloration and how they kind of do, like you said, the saturated, like it's blue on blues a lot, but it's like really aesthetically pleasing.
It's super aesthetically pleasing, and then you also have, the contrast with Marceline's father, who we meet, who's basically the devil.
Yeah, basically whatever Adventure Time's version of hell is the Nightosphere.
Yeah, I would love to know. Did we ever learn his name? His
actual name is Hudson Abadir.
Okay,
I think
that doesn't sound very villainous.
Mention that one time in this episode, but I can't
Hudson.
remember.
Okay, I'll try and keep that in mind. I'm not sure if it really matters, but Man, he was wild. He reminded me of the businessman that we met not too long ago from season 1, episode 8, Business Time.
Good pull out right there.
He's dressed really prim and proper, and he's formal. He's like going to a business meeting.
Yeah, you learn.
And his meeting is eating your soul.
You learn later he runs the Nightosphere kind of like a business, but in a really effed up way too.
Yeah, and he's deathless, which is a fun. That just feels very D&D to me.
Yeah,
that term.
And it's really, I've read a little on this episode and like what kind of that means, because when he's talking with Gunter later in the episode, he gets cut off when he says, "I don't have and then gets cut off. But like he's essentially getting to he doesn't have a soul.
Man, the Gunter. We're just hopping to the best parts of this episode.
No, we can hold it. We can hold it.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Hopefully, y'all watch this episode. That's the whole thing. Watch the episode, dive in with us. I mean, if you watch it later on, that's fine. But there's so many little bits and jokes and crap that we do that probably are really terrible if you've never seen the episode. So
yeah, I mean, yeah,
please watch it.
This would be a stupid podcast to listen to if you don't know the show and you never even watched the episode.
Yeah,
we would just sound absolutely crazy.
Yeah, so let's get in first off, right before we get in the Gunter, I want to talk about the true form of Marceline's dad.
Mm-hmm.
Because are we to assume that Marceline's true form is the giant vampire monster, and his true form is this weird jellyfish monster with a soul sack?
No, I don't think you're to assume that, because we do know that Marceline's a vampire.
And she has the bat form.
And she's got her bat form.
Her dad kind of seems vampire-esque.
So
as well.
I'll go ahead and lay down a spoiler drop. That it is her dad is this demon, this ruler of the Nightosphere, and her mom is not. So she's only half of what Hudson Abadir is in terms of her biology.
Did she take his last name?
I don't think so. I was thinking about that.
Is it Marceline Abadir?
I would assume so, but I just know her as Marcy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's also got these awesome Zohan karate kick moves that he can pull out of he's got straight up whack him in the face. Then.
Yeah, like straight leg going straight up. Also with the Ted Mosby red boots too.
I didn't even. I think I might have missed that actually. That's great.
He's wearing bright red.
Did he steal them from Jake? He steal Jake's boots?
That's a great. I would imagine that maybe Hudson made his way over to the Thief Kingdom or whatever and stole some red boots.
We got to. I don't know. Calling him Hudson, I'm gonna get confused at some point. Because really, Marceline's dad is, it seems like, what he's called throughout this entire episode.
Finn calls him Marceline's dad the whole episode.
And Marceline calls him Daddy. Because the song. The reference to the song. It's not a weird thing, y'all.
He's just not calling him Daddy.
She's got daddy issues, but not like that. Well, not that we know.
Not like that.
She says, "What is it? He's not worth the effort." When Finn's trying to get him through the portal, or like when she's like, "You should confront your father." He doesn't know what he's getting himself into at that point, though.
Yeah, I mean, this episode really comes out the gate with a huge theme that spans across the entire rest of the show, and we saw it not really in season 1. But it's
daddy issues.
It's a lot in the show. It's a lot of different father situations that are brought up in the show with multiple characters. Mm-hmm. And that father relationships are super tough. No matter if Jake's father situation, Marceline has a father situation, Finn has a father situation. And it's a big overarching theme of the show of how to deal with family issues and how to, overcome past pains and past hurts, and then not being who your father was, but how do you still be a good father after that, And so
it's interesting too. Jake's father, though, seems like a nice guy. That one scene we saw him in season 1, he also kind of gave off that weird 1950s you're don't talk unless spoken to woman sort of vibes, which I don't love. When he's I can't remember the quote right now, But he says something to her in that one instance where you just kissed the boom boom baby, like I'm not gonna kiss you or whatever. I don't know.
Well, there's a great episode, and I was thinking about all the father figures that we see in Adventure Time, and yeah, like really, Jake's dad is the one that doesn't seem the most effed up, but then there's a whole episode where he's like speaking to them through little like hologram time capsule things, and he's putting Finn through a test. And it's kind of a messed up way of fathering. And they also, say it's like, you're not a bad father. It was all with good intentions, but it's kind of like not how you should parent. So they even bring Jake's dad in on this,
Oh, man. Everyone's got daddy problems.
Everybody's got the daddy issues.
Well, I think it's funny, something I talk about. I mean, this is going to try not the tangent here, but I feel like a subject matter that is really interesting to me as the firstborn male, sort of a thing in my immediate family. It's like, I don't know. There's definitely a thing with like your father, it's like, even if your father is a great person and you have a great relationship with him, like the father-son dynamic and probably the father-daughter dynamic as well, or whatever. But I do think there's something very special and weird and difficult about the father-son dynamic because whether it's you're looking up to them or you're feeling like you need to impress them or something like that. You don't want to let them down or whatever, or maybe you don't get along with them at all, and that has a whole new slew of things and a whole different way of that dynamic that fortunately I've never had to experience. But yeah, I mean, I get it, man. I understand why I don't know, maybe Penn's getting at something deeper, and we'll see as we go more and more. This is very surface level. Like the song is, "Why did you eat my fries?"
Yeah, but
there's more to it.
They keep it surface level in the show because they obviously just don't come right for like gut wrenching, soul searching topics. They keep it surface level, but they make it relatable. That this was a simple situation that Hudson eats Marceline's fries. And apparently, although it seems like it is, and we're getting actually to what I was thinking we were going to end the show on, but we're getting into it now.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it seems like, very minute, unimportant, but it hurt Marceline. Like, even if it was a small thing in the grand scope of things. And obviously, Marceline's dad doesn't even think twice about it because in the end of this episode, he's like, "You never told me that upset you. They weren't even that good. I'm sorry." Like, and it was an easy apology. But it brings up the topic that it's hard to tell your parents when they've done something wrong. It really is.
Yeah, it's crazy difficult. And man, this episode was emotionally exhausting.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes of like emotional exhaustion.
Finn mentions it at the end. He's like, "I'm exhausted," or "I'm emotionally exhausted."
No, wait,
I'm physically exhausted.
Physically exhausted.
But like, yeah, because it's just constantly pulling on your emotions a little bit here and there. To your point, when let's see, Marceline doesn't feel any of like, well, I guess that's even different. That's talking about the way that Marceline's like tunnel visioned this entire episode and not thinking about the greater good of the mankind of Yoooooo. Instead, she's totally focused on this. Like, who cares? It's all about my father. And
she hyper focuses on, I just want to get my base back because she knows she's suppressing that this conversation has to happen with her dad.
Yeah, so, but the song, dude, when he starts doing when Finn uses the song, I literally, like, I was laying in my bed watching this episode and I sat up and I was so attentive. Like, it was the first time, I think, in Adventure Time that I was just like, what is about to happen? Because it just got really, really personal right here. And they both say that I love you or whatever. And I actually, like, I had been stopping the episode every like 5 minutes or so. That doesn't make sense. An 11-minute long episode, like 2 minutes, or just every time I hear something, I'm like, oh, quick note, But when that happened, I was like, I'm not pausing this. Like, I'll go back and rewatch it later or whatever. Yeah. But I just really wanted to like get absorbed by that situation.
Yeah,
because it was so good. But it is so difficult to tell your loved ones, and especially the people that are older than you, maybe not off, but to tell them that you disagree or that you don't want to be a part of some family event or whatever, like or that you're mad and actually like be the mature one, like being the one, like Marceline's forced with a situation where she has to go to her father before he will ever go to her.
Yeah.
And in order to like get their relationship back to the way she feels it should be.
She knows the ball's in her court. Like the whole episode.
I hate it because like it shouldn't be, it's not fair.
But you're just explaining that's the situation that everybody deals with parents, is that parents kind of can feel like, oh, I raised you and like I'm doing my like, but you have to cross that threshold of being like, no, like I get to a certain age, and Marceline's 1,000 years old, so like she's at the age, like
and the age is coming past a couple of times at that point,
where you have to shred down some of those barriers with your parents and be like, hey, you have to talk to me like a normal person. You have to like actually realize that I'm an adult and that
respects my boundaries too is another one that I think we've all had that conversation.
Yeah, respect communication, like communication preferences, communication styles. You have to work hard at it's not just like, you're just a little baby and I'm keeping you alive. It's a continuing, like any other relationship. You have to continue to work at it slowly. And
it's that weird thing of like, I remember hearing somewhere that your parents get to be in your life. It's not like a requirement for them to be or whatever, which I don't know why that stuck out to me. I haven't been in a situation, very fortunately, where I've ever felt like that was something that, stuck with me. But in a sense, at a certain age, like you are actively making choices to call your parents, because they're not going to call you or whatever. Like my mom doesn't like to travel. And so if I'm going to see my mom, I'm going all the way down to Georgia, and I'm going to, Russell went down to Georgia, and I'm going to...
He was looking for a soul to steal.
That was Marceline's dad looking for a soul to steal. And I got to make that 6-hour effort, and if I'm just going down to Georgia or going to a football game or something, like that's an extra effort that I have to make because, even though I know she wants to see me and she'll guilt me if I don't see her, which understandably so, because I will feel like I would if I don't see her anyways. But
that means you can probably relate with Marceline a lot in this episode of going, a lot of that ball of maintaining this parent-child relationship is in your court. And obviously it's in Marceline's court because Hudson's in the nightosphere. And even when he enters back into her life forcefully, he kind of like, he's like, oh, thanks, I'm gonna run off and get some souls, and like makes no effort. I guess she didn't really want him to come into there, but
his reaction was good though. I would say at the end of the episode when he's responding to the way like what she wrote in her song, he responds in a really good and productive way, and is only interrupted by Finn. Well, Finn seizes the opportunity and says, I'm going to slay this dude.
Yeah. Well, and you could see Marceline's fear is that she's probably afraid that if she opens up to her dad and says, like, I want this better relationship with you, that there is that fear of rejection, that he just says, nah, I'm better off without you. I'm better off like...
Maybe he has tons of kids. Maybe he's like if he's the devil, essentially, or a Greek god, sort of a mindset of just like, oh yeah, Marceline's one of millions or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Maybe we'll find that out later.
Man, but all in all, this is such a good episode. We couldn't even begin talking about the episode itself before we could even like start talking about everything you could get out of it, all the meat.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking a lot about Marceline's dad, and he is my most punchable character.
Yeah,
for sure.
Did you? And maybe you had a note on this because we've talked about it. He definitely fits that mantra of what we've been talking about a lot on this show. So go back to season 1, listen if you haven't. We've talked about this whole, like, let's throw in jerks into the Adventure Time universe. And
he's a big jerk. We need a big hero force to fight this big jerk force because he's big time evil.
Yeah, I feel like him and Magic Man would be best friends,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, they have a similar quirk about them, certainly.
Yeah.
Like the way he goes up to the fluffy person and he's just like, oh, don't worry, I'm not going to suck out your soul, and then you get the fluffy guy who's just like, oh, good, because that's like my number one fear, or whatever. I mean, he loves that, and he even did to the Roughhousers. He like messed with them a little bit,
Yeah.
Like, he's when he like really creepy. He does that weird, that like scary movie. I'm on my back, sort of thing, crawling at you.
Spider legs coming up behind your neck, like.
Oh man, yeah, that moment was creepy followed by a great moment where he says that he's the Roughhousing Marauder's mom.
On a scale of 1 to I would never let my child watch this episode, where do you sit?
How old is the child? Can you give me an age?
Yeah, let's go 9.
9? Nah, I'd let that kid watch that episode. They're 9. I think I watched a rated R movie by 12.
Okay, that's a 3 formative years though, between 9 and 12.
That's true. Though the moment was my mom rented a R-rated movie for her and my stepdad to watch at some point, and then an unrated movie, not knowing what unrated meant. And
American
it was
Pie, unrated.
Well, that soon came after. I think it was Wedding Crashers, unrated. Yeah, that or Old School is one of those two. I think we saw Wedding Crashers, and it was first scene is just topless girls falling on a bed, and then my mom said, "Oh, let's not watch that." Then we watched Old School instead, which honestly is not much worse.
My boy better. Blue.
Yeah. So the reason actually that Marceline's father is my most punchable character is from one moment in the show where he is fighting Marceline, and then he takes, right before he kicks Marceline wraps him up and grabs him from behind or whatever, and her hand is on his eyeball, his open eyeball, and he doesn't flinch at all. And I'm sure that's just like a animation thing, but that moment was so disgusting to me and so crazy that he doesn't flinch when he's being stabbed in the eye by Marceline. And I was like, this dude's crazy. What's up with this guy? And he's my most punchable character.
Yeah, easily most punchable. Who's your lovely?
Give me some sugar, baby.
We actually mentioned him a little bit there. My lovely is Fluffy People, or the fluffy person, the main fluffy person. Yeah,
that's a good lovely.
Cute little cotton ball, and he's quite naive.
I made a note. I was like, do these not look like lumpy people with legs?
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm sure they're softer, obviously, because they're the soft. They're not the soft people. We got a lot of soft, fluffy people. Well, that's why they need a hero in the Adventure Time universe. There's a lot of soft, fluffy people just wandering around on the hills at night.
There's probably cotton candy people in the Candy Kingdom too.
Yeah, candy people are very soft and dumb.
I think they can be. Yeah, so this world's full of that. And just generic characters, I suppose. It's probably a lot easier to design just a roundish character than it is to design a spiky, threatening character.
Yeah, you don't have to go into a lot of like animated detail.
Yeah, I mean, we don't like the spiky people. We don't like the cute people all that much. Like, we don't really like the people that aren't soft and round. So
not yet.
So we'll see.
My lovely. Is the least screen time this episode.
Least screen time this episode.
Pocket Jake.
Pocket Jake is freaking amazing.
Pocket Jake was awesome. Did you notice that at the beginning of the episode, there's like stitches on his pocket?
Yes.
So you are like,
were there always stitches?
No.
Okay.
So I watching this episode again, I was like, oh, they're accentuating his pocket, and they don't keep doing it in future episodes.
There's no other. He doesn't look in his pocket at any point. It's just that one moment at the end when you see Pocket Jake and he turns around. That's my tops actually of the episode is the last 5 seconds of the episode. First you get the souls that are bouncing into each other like goofballs from the real life Scooby-Doo movie when the souls are trying to return to their bodies, and then you get Pocket Jake, and it's just like this wonderful 5 seconds of the show. Like, it's the best part of the entire show.
Yeah,
the last 5 seconds.
I had a different tops of the episode.
Give it to me.
I had Finn Bomb.
Finn Bomb.
When Marceline was carrying,
drops him and grabs him.
Drop the Finn Bomb. And then she catches him right before he hits the ground.
That's a great moment. I love it.
That's just like, that's who Finn is. It's just like doing funny little ridiculous things like that. And I was like, I love that. My honorable mention tops had to be eat some soul food. I've got some country fried steaks. I've got some collard greens. Like, let's get his soul back in his body.
Yes.
You're trying to shove soul food into the mouth.
Collard greens are gross. That might revive you just from eating how bad they are.
Just Popeye style.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Well, let's let's take a moment. I don't think we have a collard green commercial coming up, but we'll see what we got. We'll see
who bought that sponsor time.
All right.
This ad is brought to you by Nightosphere Naughty Fries. Get on down to the Nightosphere and get some of Out and In Burger's new Naughty Fries.
Ooh, they're spooky. Am I doing it right? Is this...
You shut your mouth, my fry cook lackey. We're cooking up Nightosphere Naughty Fries day and night for all of the hopeless souls in the Nightosphere.
Oh, they're so evil.
They're so evil that we take the souls of people from Earth and shove them into every flavorful bite.
But I put a little bit of love on every fry.
These fries are served cold, covered with evil ketchup and dastardly mustard.
They're not that evil.
They're as evil as a French fry can get.
But they're dang good.
Get them while supplies last. Welcome back to the show.
Man, that was a whole season in our pocket, and that advertisement was one of our best.
Yeah, probably the best of season 2 so far.
It was definitely the best one of season 2 so far, no doubt. I mean, one thing is for certain. We spent 28 episodes talking about Adventure Time and Shrek a little bit and Scooby-Doo a little bit. And we did it still, dude. Like, we are still the number one Nashville-based 2 guys talking about Adventure Time podcast in the U.S.
Yeah, 28 weeks running.
28 weeks running. It's pretty incredible. And hopefully we'll just keep that going.
Pretty crazy.
No competition in sight.
All right, let's walk through this episode because we got way deep on you guys early on. We usually save that for the second half, but there was a lot of good just snippets. There was just so we start this episode off.
Is it a time skip? Do we have a year time skip? Is that what's going on here?
I don't think so. I don't think it's.
It's definitely sometimes gone by because Marceline and Finn are like buds.
Yeah, we never really get good time frames except for when we mention Finn's age or when they mention Finn's age.
Well, she has a dog now. Like, Marceline's moved into the cave.
Yeah, she's in the house.
She's got her own dog.
Episode. They're obviously on they we saw them become good friends in season 1, and now this is them chilling as good friends.
Yeah, it does seem like some time has passed, but maybe not an entire year. I was wondering.
Do you notice that Finn's voice sounds just a smidge older?
No, I didn't really notice.
Yeah, there's just a lack of like some of the overly childish soundingness, and it kind of, just to me personally, it does sound like we kind of jump in, and Finn sounds just like if he moved from 12 to 13,
Yeah. Okay.
So I liked starting that out. They're chilling in the house. They're just like riffing off each other. Finn's got a recording device, which is just a microphone taped to a Walkman.
I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I wish we could record our podcast that simply.
We could. It just wouldn't. It wouldn't sound great.
Garbage.
I've heard some songs on Spotify that were recorded like on a phone, and you could definitely tell. But maybe it's the vibe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, definitely that lo-fi vibe is apparently the kind of music that hits Hudson Habideer's heart in the very end.
Oh yeah, it is. But also, it's mostly just because it's from his daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then we had the Phil face show up again. The little face that's on the wall that he has to draw to open the Nightosphere.
I forgot that was called the Phil face.
The Phil face from the show.
That is a factoid that I just totally put into some weird compartmentalized thing in my brain, and was like, I'm never going to need that information.
It's going to keep showing
ever again.
It's going to keep showing up. So if you compartmentalize it for every episode, I'm going to bring it right back out.
That's fine. Man, yeah. I was wondering, so Marceline's father comes into the picture, and we see him like trying to steal Finn's soul, and I noticed you can see his like true form in the back of his throat.
Yeah,
just for like a split second. I thought that was pretty cool little get ready for what's coming soon.
Yeah. If you didn't know that was coming soon, you'd be like, oh, he's got like some sort of like Alien versus Predator mouth in there.
Yeah, I liked the like hand opening the door thing was creepy and awesome. Mm-hmm. But I'm not like a big fan of the jellyfish face thing.
No, it's not as scary as they could have made it, probably on purpose, because again, they have to make it somewhat digestible for children.
Are we going into the Nightosphere at some point?
Yeah, we definitely go into the Nightosphere at some point.
That's cool. Finn's like, he's like out for it almost seemed like vengeance, which he doesn't have vengeance that he's trying to seek, but he was like, can't wait to get you in the Nightosphere, you freak.
They have a little, I think it's a 2-parter episode, like about Marceline and her dad again. And
That's awesome.
I don't think it's that far away. Like I think it happens within the next season or 2.
I'm all about that.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Finn gets a new sword maybe this episode.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call this one. I didn't actually Google what it's for real called because I wanted to just call it. We have the gold sword, and I wanted to call this one maybe just like the root sword or the tree sword.
It seemed kind of dark. It seemed like a darker sword.
Yeah, it was like in somebody's grave or something. He rips it out of the ground, but it definitely stays in Finn's reserve of swords from this point on. So I love that that's canon, and I love that you pulled that out too.
Yeah, we've got so many weird character placements in this episode. I feel like they kind of went all over Yoooooo for this one because I guess his whole thing was he's going to go around and steal souls, but we see LSP at one point, and she's volunteered to be inside of the dad for some reason.
Super canon.
What?
No spoilers. Ooh. The fact that LSP's soul cannot be stolen.
Oh, I thought she just volunteered. I thought she just kind of went in.
I mean, she did.
Okay, but her soul can't be stolen? That's interesting.
But there's a reason why he doesn't have her soul.
Oh.
Gunter.
Well,
you are the most evil being I've ever seen in the universe.
Okay, I wasn't sure where you're going with Gunter. So you're talking about the other characters, or
because you were talking about just all the places we went to. The
Ice King's there for a minute.
Fluffy Hill, Ice Kingdom. We went to
the Roughhousing Marauders.
The Roughhousing Kingdom.
Talking about the expanding Earth theory, which is something I am definitely interested in. And Gunter. And Gunter's the big one.
Gunter is the big one. It's
the dark one, really.
Oh, he is the dark one. And I'm just not going to spoiler drop, but I love that it's dude, it's the first episode of season 2, and we've already established Gunter as the evilest being in the universe.
It reads as a bit. It doesn't read as him being serious. It reads as a joke for the audience.
And that's the point. Yeah. But how we ended last season talking about the things that they make canon, and did they plan it and did they not plan it? I think they planned it.
They might have planned that one.
I think they planned it.
Yeah. Of all the history's greatest monsters, you are by far the most evil thing I've encountered. And then he has that great moment where he's like, no, you can't have my soul. Gunter was going to steal his soul back, and then he just gets up and Gunter just slaps the crap out of his face. That was so good. But it's interesting to see Ice King's dynamic with Gunter, because if Gunter's this big evil creature, Ice King's just hey, you're not supposed to fly here or whatever, they have a weird, I don't know. I'm wondering why this big evil creature is hanging out with Ice King. Evil.
It's such a funny dynamic. And there's more Gunter episodes that are focused not even on Gunter being evil, that we just have a couple of more Gunter-esque moments.
Well, I don't know if this is a theoretically speaking. And I'm going to keep it kind of short and sweet, but I think Gunter is a Sith. And this might be a really out there thought, but Gunter's one of the Sith, and I'm looking forward to seeing his true form, which I think we all know is going to be Bane from Batman.
What? That's such a stretch.
As he was born in the darkness.
You merely adopted the darkness. Yeah. I was born in it.
I gotta say, I don't know the answer, but I see it, Russ.
I think it's very obvious. The more I dive deeper into it, some people go, no, he's going to be Penguin from Batman. And I'm like, you're dumb. He's obviously going to be Bane. And
climbed his way from the pits.
But I'm going to be really pissed if he's the Lich. If Gunter ends up being the Lich, shaking your head.
I'm going to go. Okay. I'll cut that one off. I won't let you have to theoretically speak. If you tell me I theoretically think something and I don't want it to be true, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's fine. That was kind of just me spitballing a little bit. I didn't really imagine that would be the truth, but I was definitely a little afraid that's where they might go. Maybe the Lich is hiding out temporarily in a weak state so that no one can detect his evilness or something like that. Sometimes you get that trope here and there.
Yeah.
And shows it. I just wasn't sure.
I want to spoil so many things.
The Lich is somewhere in the land of Yoooooo. He's Princess Bubblegum. I don't know. Dang it. I'm just kidding. He's the Roughhousing Marauder. I don't know.
He's the Roughhousing Marauder.
The mountain's butt. I don't know. Spitballing. Man.
All good theory. Those are some good theoretical thoughts, though. I like where your mind's going.
Oh my gosh. I know it now.
I just like you thinking.
It's Jake.
Things.
Jake is the lich.
No, Jake's not the lich.
Dang it.
You're 20% right with all of your guesses, though.
Oh, 20% right with all of my guesses.
I'm going to really confuse you now.
So he's 20% of the lich, 20% of the mountain's butt, 20% of Gunter.
I really don't want to guess, but I feel like it has something to do with what Ned said earlier.
I was not paying attention. The face. We're talking about the
face. No. You're getting goofball on me.
Yeah. I don't know this show.
I don't know this. So next scene, we go to Red Rock Pass, which I was going to ask you. Do you think that's Red Rocks, Colorado?
I'm drawing a blank on this
old
scene.
Concert venue.
Well, I know what Red Rocks, Colorado is. I know what concert venue you're talking about.
when they come and Hudson's like walking through the valley and he's like stepping on the ants and
great
sucking
moment.
out the souls.
I don't know. It seemed more like the pit from 300. The Spartans.
The pass from 300.
Yeah.
There is even like a delicately perched rock that Finn tries to smush Hudson.
Yeah, it seems rather convenient, but
rather convenient.
No, I didn't think anything of that. I honestly was pretty distracted by him and his little tune.
Yeah, I just thought that was a fun that could be Red Rocks, man.
I think those were just red rocks.
They're just red rocks.
I think those were just red rocks. I mean, he could have been in Georgia. We got red clay.
We got red clay.
I don't know.
So he's sucking out ant souls. He sucks in enough souls to turn into like true form.
Yeah, full Shaggy or not Shaggy. Scrappy Doo.
Full Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, from that first movie where he's the big bad guy and he grows by eating souls or by absorbing souls.
I do kind of remember that one.
Yeah. We're probably never going to watch that. I'll reference it a ton apparently on this show, but I doubt we will ever watch the IRL first Scooby-Doo movie. It's a goodie.
It's a goodie.
It's a goodie though. I like it.
And then did you notice he also has like that weird like frog sack of souls that he's
the
keeping.
soul sack.
Yeah. Like
it
reminded me of Bufo, like Bufo's little frog.
It does a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird choice. It was all a really weird choice for this big bad guy. Yeah. I almost liked him better as like an evil business vampire man.
Yeah. I like OG form better for sure.
Yeah.
But I guess they probably had to even stylistically do that so that there was a way Finn could beat him, you know? Yeah,
definitely. It leaves him incredibly vulnerable. He's got these pink things hanging down, like tentacle type things, and they don't do anything. He doesn't have control over them or anything like that. He just has two arms. He seems like a really kind of pathetic. I'm calling him out. Pretty pathetic bad guy right now.
That's your beef.
If he's the most evil person in the Yoooooo universe, I guess outside of Gunter,
yeah.
I guess that's my beef is that he's really not all that big bad.
He could have been eviler.
He could have been more evil. Yeah, they do plenty of creepy things on this show. Like I was more afraid of the cat that knows most things.
Yeah, but you do see like he's evil, but he obviously loves his daughter too. So he's got
Yeah, it was a great moment. Like I said, I felt like he really responded well there. And Shane, well, that's weird. Finn really,
Shane the human boy.
Shane the human boy. Finn really interrupts that moment. But sees an opening. He has to
because they would have had their moment. Marceline didn't care that he was walking through sucking up souls in the universe, and so if Finn hadn't taken his moment, Marceline would have been like, thanks Dad, and then he would have been like, okay, I'm gonna go suck some more souls.
Ned, do you have a lesson for me?
Man, I had, let me see, just one lesson, I think, and this is the deep one. I didn't have any like lighthearted or funny lessons. I just said communication is key with your family. That's
a good one.
What we talked about a lot at the beginning of this episode is that it's just hard to have relationships with people in general, much less when the relationship with your family is the most important and the most delicate and the one that you always truly deeply have the desire for. And I think that like communication, openness, honesty, transparency is pretty key in keeping those relationships good,
Yeah, that's a great lesson. It's basically a similar idea as what I was thinking too. I just said there are moments in life where we have to be the more mature person, and sometimes those moments are with your parents or someone you admire.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to have those moments. And communication is so weirdly important and so incredibly difficult in so many situations. And then also front pockets are cool.
Front pockets look cozy.
Front pockets look a little weirdly cozy.
Cozy.
I mean, maybe a little claustrophobic for me, but
I mean, if I could shrink down to that size, I would for sure hang out in someone's frocket all day.
I don't think I'm not rocking a frocket. I wonder, Michael, are you rocking a frocket right now?
I was earlier, but I'm not right now.
Resident frat boy. Well, Ned, you might be a resident frat boy.
I got rid of like 90% of my frockets.
Yeah, that's not fair. Like, I only liked one of those shirts, and it's because it has an outline of Bob Dylan's face on the back of it, but it is still a frat shirt.
Yeah.
I think
no hate on them. They're comfort colors.
Some of my favorite shirts have. Oh, you're talking about from like sorority and fraternity events. Yeah. Some of my favorite shirts still have rockets.
Oh yeah,
but it's not like it's not a statement. I'm not trying to make a statement.
But the statement is, hey, here's my buddy Ned. If he could shrink down, he'd be hanging out in his frocket. That's the statement.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, thanks you guys for listening. This was, just a beautiful, wonderful way to kick off season 2.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes.
This episode was great.
I'm feeling the Russell Adventure Time energy hyping up, slowly but surely, as he dances.
It's my eager face from SpongeBob.
I love it. Russell, where can our listeners follow us?
You could follow us. You could Venmo me at Instagram. Y'all check us out. Never Ending Adventure Podcast. TikTok at Never Ending Adventure Cast. Twitter at NEA_podcast. Email us your thoughts, your questions, your sound bites that you think might be good on the podcast. Whatever you got for us, give us permission to use it, and we might use it.
We'll drop it in there.
It's at NEA.travelerslog@gmail.com.
Jamal.
And otherwise, go rate, review us on Apple Podcasts and stuff. It actually legitimately helps. We are, I got some competition I'm seeing in my sights, and I want to take them down. And otherwise, y'all just have a great week.
Yeah.
And go watch this freaking cool episode.
Yeah, go binge season 2 and then join us for the journey.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one.
Gonna be the best, guys. Love that you guys.
All right, bye-bye. Daddy, did you mean to hit me with that soccer ball in the face? I was 5 and out of place. Daddy, are you really sorry? You tell that story to everyone, and it sure seems like I'm the pun. It's a good story, though.
Yeah.